Colby Rasmus with 5 walks yesterday afternoon. It took nearly 4.5 hours, but the Cardinals won 2 of 3 against Kansas City. This time last year, the Padres were in first place. It's been a struggle here in 2011. Petco Park on a cool evening for baseball. Game 1 of a 3-game series, the Cardinals and the San Diego Padres. And along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. Long afternoon in Kansas City, Rick. Big win, though, for the Cardinals. We'll see if it carries over to tonight.
Yeah, the long game is worth it if you win the game, and the Cardinals were able to win 2 out of 3 in Kansas City. That's something that this ball club here in San Diego is having a hard time doing, winning a game. They lost 3 straight to the Seattle Mariners. They're having a very hard time scoring runs.
All right, coming up, we'll give you our starting lineups and our first pitch. Kyle Loesch going for St. Louis. Baseball is next. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with the refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Chevy, see your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines, new Rapid Rewards, unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We are in San Diego in Petco Park. And for the first time today, the sun, at least for a little while, is peeking through the clouds. It was a cold, rainy afternoon. I know that's hard to believe, but a rainy, drizzly afternoon here in beautiful San Diego. Let's take a look at the Cardinals lineup. Ryan Theriot, John Jay, and Albert Pujols. Then Lance Berkman, Colby Rasmus, Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, Daniel Descalso, and the pitcher Kyle Loesch. And it's a right-hander, Dustin Mosley, who gets the start for the Padres.
Mosley's lost his last 3 starts. He's a guy that came over from the Yankees and has been a guy that's gotten no run support at all. In fact, of all the pitchers in both the National League and the American League, the least run support of anybody. 1.7 runs per game. Changeup is his best pitch, and it's his task here to win a game at home, something the Padres are having a hard time doing. Just 8-18 at home this season.
And a look at the defense for the Padres. Ludwig is in left, Maben the speedster in center, DeNorfia in right. Headley, Bartlett, Hudson, Hopp along the infield. Mosley and Rob Johnson, that's your battery tonight. And that's presented by Dobbs. Bud Black for the second time this season following yesterday's loss at a team meeting. 5th season as the manager of the San Diego Padres, and not in his lineup yesterday, the red-hot Ryan Ludwig. Now he has been one of the positives recently for a struggling offense here in San Diego.
Well, Cardinal fans love Ryan Ludwig. He's on a 10-game hitting streak, and we know when he's hot, he can stay hot. And when he's cold, he's cold. Right now, the whole offense for the Padres is cold. They particularly don't score in the first 3 innings of the game. They're more of a later in the game scoring club, but they really rely, they live and die on their starting pitching, and it's been up and down.
And the leadoff man is Ryan Theriot. Cardinals shortstop went 2 for 12 in the opening series at Busch Stadium to start the year. And he looks at a strike, and we're underway. Home plate umpire is Jim Joyce. Ron Kulpa, the St. Louisan, down at first. Jim Wolf at second. And Daryl Cousins, the crew chief, is at third. Big gap in the left center field. Bring up the name of Jim Joyce. He'll always be linked with Armando Galarraga, and not for the right reasons.
Yeah, 2 of the top umpires in the game, as voted by the players, are here at the ballpark. Joyce, as well as Jim Wolf, the second base umpire here tonight. And it's unfortunate. Jim Joyce is so good at what he does, and he would just happen to be wrong on that pretty important play.
Here's a ground ball that's hit to second. Orlando Hudson, a former Gold Glove winner, puts it away, and that's how we start the series. On paper, you would think that this would be a better San Diego team than what they have shown, especially here at home.
I really like their manager, too. Bud Black was the manager of the year in 2010. He knows how to get his team ready to play. They've had some injuries in their starting rotation. Latos was out for a while, and they've had some underperformance in their starting rotation. Their bullpen, Dan, is great, so you do not want to get into the 7th inning behind this club, but it just hasn't happened very often for Bud Black. They've just gotten out to those early deficits, and they just can't overcome it. Not enough offense.
John Jay initially in the lineup in left field. Right before our first pitch, Tony La Russa puts him in right. And that's up the middle for a base hit. So John Jay, a one-out single. Let's take a look at our first bank, first stake. First bank, we're banking on your future.
Cardinals lost 2 out of 3 the opening series, and opening day was really frustrating. Cameron Maben with a home run off of Ryan Franklin, and just not a good series for the Cardinals, so they owe the Padres something here.
There you go. Albert Pujols put on a show at batting practice. That's batting practice. Will it carry over to a game? First pitch is a strike. Pujols is hitting .269. Well documented. The longest homerless drought of his career. 7 home runs, and he's driven in 25 this season. Short lead at first by Jay. Outfield straightaway and deep, and Pujols pulls it foul. Now you take a look at Albert Pujols and the body of work, Rick. It's 10 years of some of the greatest baseball we've ever seen, if not the greatest start to a career. Statistically, you could make that case. But we're now getting close to Memorial Day. A lot of times people will say in baseball, by that time you know what your team looks like. What about an individual? Is this what we're going to see from Albert Pujols this year?
Well, if you're talking about just a 9 or 10 game stretch, you'd say, well, that can happen. But when you're talking about game 49 here in San Diego, you've got to say, okay, Albert's gone a long time now without getting it right. I do think he's going to turn it around. I don't know if he's going to hit .330 or not. But you and I saw him take batting practice today, and it looked a little bit like the old Albert to us.
Sure
of course,
did.
It's off of Dave McKay, not a big league pitcher.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Pujols. Very spacious ballpark, Petco Park. It's one of the toughest spots in all of baseball to hit home runs. It's 396 to center field, 401 to left center, 400 to right. Inside on Pujols. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They say now with the configurations of this ballpark, which opened up in 2004, very tough to lure a free agent hitter to San Diego, but a pitcher, that's a different story. This is a pitcher's park.
It really is. They continue to restock their bullpen in particular. Their bullpen is just outstanding. If I was a reliever and I was half good, I'd want to pitch here.
2-2 pitch. Pujols out to center. At the track, it's at the wall and caught by Maben. A lot of places. That's a home run as Pujols hit the deck as he was running back towards first base, and it looked like he was tied up with somebody.
Albert appears to be running okay, and that's a pretty good swing for Albert. He hit that ball a long way to center field. Maben, an outstanding center fielder, and a little frustration for Albert. He actually runs into John Jay headed back to first base.
Now it's the switch hitting Lance Berkman. But Tony La Russa made that move to put Berkman in left and move him from right field right before our first pitch, so we did not get a chance to ask him why. Our guess is you have a very spacious, and some of the oddities in right field can be part of this game here at Petco Park as Jay is running and steals a bag. That would be our guess.
Well, I think it makes sense to have your best outfielder in right field, and John Jay covers more ground and has a better arm than Lance Berkman, and probably you could make a case for he should have been in right field to begin with, but Berkman doesn't have as much experience in left field, has been playing right all season long, so I'm sure Tony may have just changed his mind. I'm sure he entertained the thought of having Berkman play left earlier and just changed his mind at the last minute.
Berkman from the left side of the plate is hitting .358, .286 on the other side. Then misses on the outside corner. 130 at bats from the left side, or total, excuse me, 95 from the left side, 35 from the other. And a 3-0 pitch, taken for a ball. Brings in Colby Rasmus, and Tony La Russa yesterday talking about the outstanding job of Colby to have patience. Long afternoon at the plate. He drew 5 walks. And also maybe a little show of respect on the other side by Kansas City.
5 walks, a franchise record for the Cardinals. Colby Rasmus going with the new socks too. Trying to get a little bit of the superstitious that most players have. And there's Gerald Laird, who broke a finger yesterday and is now on the disabled list. Cardinals made a couple of moves today we'll tell you about.
They add Skip Schumacher and Tony Cruz to the roster. Gerald Laird on the DL. See right there. And Mitchell Boggs option to Memphis. Cardinals also today picked up right-hander Brian Broderick, who was returned from the Washington Nationals. He was a Rule 5 pickup in December. He was 0-1 in 11 games for Washington. Gave up 9 runs, 16 hits, and 12 1/3. When Cruz does play, he'll be making his major league debut. 30 games at Memphis, 16 RBIs, 4 home runs.
All-star in A-ball. He's a guy that's really a catch and throw guy more than anything else, although he's been okay with the bat, but really his job will just be to handle pitchers while he's up here, and that's why I think he gets the nod over some other catchers in the minor leagues that the Cardinals have that maybe can swing the bat a little bit better than him.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, and namely you're talking about Brian Anderson.
Exactly. Brian Anderson continues to hit in the minor leagues, but just don't think he has the respect yet of being a guy that can handle a pitching staff.
Baseball America said Cruz was the best defensive catcher in the Cardinals minor league system. The 1-2 pitch to Colby just missed.
Does that count Mike Matheny as a coach? He's in the Cardinal system.
If you put Mike back there right now, I guarantee you'd be able to catch.
I guarantee it too.
Made a living out of that for a number of years. Gap into right center for Colby. The 2-2 pitch. Well, give Jim Joyce credit for this. He has been consistent with that call in the outside corner twice in this at bat with Colby Rasmus. Tough pitch to take.
Colby's walked so many times in the last 24 hours. I think he's just expecting to do it again. That is a very tough pitch to lay off. Very close.
Runners go, and it's a strike on Rasmus. Cardinals strand 2 in beautiful San Diego. Padres coming up in their half of the first. And there's a look at Bud Black. Welcome back to San Diego. No score as we move to the bottom of the first. His lineup: Denorfia, Bartlett, and Ludwig. Hop, Headley, Maben, Hudson, Johnson, and the pitcher Dustin Mosley. The Cardinals counter with Kyle Loesch here tonight. It is 1 complete game, 5-2, 2.17 ERA. And the first pitch is a strike.
Dan, 7 of his 9 starts, he's given up 2 runs or less. You'd have to say he's been as consistent as anybody in this Cardinal rotation, and that's talking about McClellan and Garcia as well.
Terrio up with it and gets Denorfia. 1 away. Let's look at the Cardinal defense. With Berkman in left, Rasmus in center, John Jay is in right. Descalso, Terrio, Schumacher, and Pujols along the infield. And it's Loesch and Molina. The battery tonight that's presented by Dobbs. Were you surprised that Tony La Russa yanked Jaime Garcia when he did in the ballgame yesterday?
Well, I was a little bit surprised, but there have been some games where you see Garcia unravel quickly, and I think there's something that Dave Duncan and Tony are picking up with him where they're expecting that to happen, and they just maybe one time too many, they let him stay in. So surprised in one hand because the numbers were good, the pitch count was low. But he's the kind of guy that can lose it in a hurry, even though he doesn't do that very often.
Bartlett shoots one foul and out of play. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And you had a well-rested bullpen to go along with that. Guys that needed work. Dave Duncan always watching for those details. I know Jaime was not happy, didn't appear to be happy to be taken out of that game, and why should he be?
The 1-2 pitch to Bartlett. Outside 2-2. Well, Lance Berkman has appeared exclusively in right field and at first this year for the Cardinals. He hasn't played left field since the 2006 season. He did do it at Rice University. You know, we forget at one point Lance Berkman was playing center field for Houston. If I remember that. So did Craig Biggio.
That's right.
Back to Loesch, steps and throws, and there's 2 down. And it brings in Ryan Ludwig. His career with the Cardinals, a .280 average, 84 home runs, and 305 RBIs.
Very popular player, too. He gave you a lot of effort defensively. Not the most gifted athlete in terms of playing in the outfield, especially after he had that injury early in his career that took away his speed. He used to be able to fly early on as a Cleveland Indian coming up, but Ludwig, a lot of special moments as a Cardinal.
Day off yesterday, and Bud Black asked about that. Why would you give a guy with a 10-game hitting streak and a struggling offense a day off? And Ludwig backed up his manager. He said, one thing I've learned in my career is that I have tried to play through a lot of aches and pains, and if I get a day of rest, usually it's a good thing. Hammers one out to deep center. Colby is back. Leaps. Did he get it? Oh, yes! Rasmus pulls it back in. What a play by Colby in center field. One of the best plays we have seen Colby Rasmus make in his young career as he takes a home run away from his former teammate Ryan Ludwig. Timed perfectly.
Yeah, and how about the smile on his face, too? He knew he did something special. Right back against the wall. He got there as quickly as he could, jumped high, and just brings it right back into play. That has to be perfectly timed. You have to have some athleticism, and you have to get back there quickly to make that play.
So he robs Ryan Ludwig. But that's been Ludwig's luck here in San Diego.
Yeah.
One thing about Ryan, even after the trade, I talked to him about, you know, his feelings towards St. Louis, and he said, I have absolutely no ill will at all about the organization and John Mozeliak. He did what he thought was the right thing to do, and he said, let's be honest, that organization and Mo gave me my chance to show what I could do, and he's made the most of it here at the big league level.
I wouldn't expect Ryan Ludwig to say anything different. There's a look at John Mozeliak. Classy major leaguer.
This guy has been on a tear. Yadier Molina got off to the slow start, which included that series opening against San Diego, but since then just on a tear. He was a home run away from the cycle yesterday. He's in the top 10 in the National League in hitting. The 1-2 pitch. Little floater into shallow right. Hudson going out to make the catch. Our Toyota keys to the game as we focus on run support. And you see Loesch and Mosley. Runs in support, Mosley last. Look at that.
CC Sabathia leads all of baseball with 50 runs scored behind him, but just 10 for Mosley. No wonder the poor guy's 1-6. No sympathy, though, in this game, Dan.
No.
I called him a poor guy, but I got over it.
I'm sure you did. Not too hard to think that way, though. Here's Schumacher. Takes a pitch outside. Good to see Skip back. 2 balls and no strikes. brief rehab assignment. Gets called right back up today and right back in the lineup. The 2-0 pitch outside, 3-0. For many of these players like Skip Schumacher, they come back to Southern California and a lot of tickets they have to dole out. Family and friends.
You've talked about how long Skip Schumacher's been out. You add David Freese to that list, and you talk about Berkman being hurt and Holiday hurt now. The Cardinals bench has done a great job of filling in for these guys.
Ground out by Schumacher, and it brings in Descalso, one of those players that you're talking about. And you hope, Ricky, that it doesn't become an issue with the Cardinals with Laird out. But I think that's one of the reasons why Molina's had such a great start to his season. The fact that they've been able to give him a breather every once in a while.
You're going to have to catch Tony Cruz. You might not want to expose him at this level, but I think the value that it is to Yadier Molina makes it worth it.
Now Descalso is from Northern California, and there's Cruz, who wears number 48. You can hear Jim Joyce up here. No doubting whether it's a ball or a strike.
You can hear him in LA.
Tails back in.
Daniel Descalso at 213. We'll look at that last pitch. Is it a strike or not? Jim Joyce said no, and he's right. At 213, that's the most productive 213 I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Step and throw, and Descalso is retired. Pop, Headley, Maven coming up. Beautiful San Diego, California, and SeaWorld. As there's no scores, we move to the bottom of the second.
All right, I have the same view.
You've been to SeaWorld?
I have.
It's awesome. World famous San Diego Zoo as well. Here is Brad Hopp. A swing and a miss by the former Rocky.
Assume you've been to the zoo.
I have been there numerous times.
That's kind of a hike. If you're going to see the whole zoo,
it is.
Bring your track shoes.
But this is the kind of climate that many animals can survive in. Doesn't change very often. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous every day.
Are you a zoologist too? How did you know that?
I have become more educated with 4 kids under 5. I can tell you that. A lot of trips to the zoo. You have no other choice but to become smarter about the zoo and animals.
I understand.
1 ball and 2 strikes here on Brad Hopp.
I've been so impressed, Dan, with the command of Kyle Loesch this year. We talk about him being consistent with his starts, but it really comes from making good pitches. Chris Carpenter has made a lot of bad pitches in the midst of a good game, and he gives up a 3 spot. Kyle Loesch, very few pitches in the middle of the plate all season long, and he just doesn't walk anybody as well. And I've just been impressed with his stuff. Carpenter's stuff has been good too, but he makes, or has been making, more bad pitches.
We'll see him on Wednesday night. It's Matt Latos. How about Latos 1 and 6? That is shocking. The 3-2 pitch. Hammered. Right field. And that ball will get down. Goes over the wall for a ground rule double. There's the quirkiness of this ballpark. Well, this is just terrible news. On Sunday, a tornado damaged the homes and took many lives of so many Cardinal fans in Joplin, Missouri. The Cardinals are donating $25,000 to help out. And you can also help out. Just text 50555 to donate $10 to Convoy of Hope. And text that to Convoy. And one of those folks that perished was Trip Miller. Trip Miller lost his life in the storm. He was a lifelong Cardinal fan, big Mizzou fan, and he'll be sorely missed. So text Convoy to 50555. There's Chase Headley. This offense is trying to figure out San Diego. It's 0-2. How do you replace a guy like Adrian Gonzalez? Traded away to Boston. Gonzalez at the start of play tonight, leading all of baseball in RBIs.
Well, clearly they haven't done it yet. There's a few pieces in this lineup that are decent. They do run well as a team. Speed is a big part of this club. Not Hop, the runner at second, but pretty much everybody else can steal a base.
And at least wants to pull it to the right side. Some of the numbers staggering right now. The offense and the record for San Diego. They're coming off 3 games against Seattle here, which they scored 2 runs, had a total of 14 hits and 2 extra base hits. That's for the entire series against the Seattle Mariners. They're only hitting as a team .203 here at home. To the right side, Schumacher, what a play. And what is the runner at second base doing? Hop, the only thing I can tell is that he thought that might be caught.
I'm sure that's what he was thinking, Dan, and he just did not get a good read on that. But nice play by Skip Schumacher right out of the box. First ball hit to you is not an easy chance at all. Hop has to hold up because he thinks it might be caught on the line. Short hop by Schumacher, and he's able to check Hop back to second base. There's Hop. He's got to make a decision right now, and he picked wrong.
And Ricky said it moments ago, this team is 8-18 at home, 11-10 on the road.
Worst home record in all of baseball.
And here's Cameron Maben, who homered on opening day against Ryan Franklin. Padres took 2 of 3.
It seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Sure does.
I
like
remember
a different looking team offensively on both sides.
No doubt. At the time, I remember the post-game sound. Ryan Franklin said, well, I was just trying to get me over curveball. And Maben hit the ball a ton to center field on opening day. Maben does have some talent.
For a guy that is a highly touted prospect, he has bounced around already early in his career.
You know, he has the speed, very gifted center fielder. Has some power as well, but he just hasn't seemed to pull it all together. And again, a lot of experience for somebody who's just 24.
Detroit, Florida, and now San Diego. A 2-1 pitch.
Big trend of late for players to be deep in the box. We know that Albert and others are just really testing that back line, but Maben more in the center of the box, even to the front of the plate, tells me he's trying to guard against the breaking ball.
1-out walk, and it brings in Orlando Hudson.
You know, Maben may be like one of those players, Dan, you know, looks good in the shop, then you take him home. He doesn't quite fit right. Looked a lot better in the shop than it does at home. I mean, there are players like that. And you get a little buyer's remorse after you realize that, okay, maybe there's some things he can't do. But you see the flash of talent, and it just makes you want to have it.
And then it makes you think about guys like Jose Bautista, who is now turning into the prime of his career, changed his stance, and has become one of the elite power hitters the last year and a half in all of Major League Baseball. And there is nobody that saw that coming.
What a tear he's been on of late. He was actually injured early in the season, and he's just piling up the home runs. In fact, he's hit 11 home runs since Albert hit his last one.
Hit another one tonight.
That would be 12.
I believe he's up to 19 now. They're playing in the Bronx. Two balls and no strikes, 1 out, runners at first and second for Orlando Hudson. Switch hitting second baseman. Late call by Jim Joyce.
You know, we throw a lot of numbers at our viewers often, but here's a number you might want to think about. The Padres are 2 for their last 32 with runners in scoring position. That's a .063 batting average, and that's not going to get it done.
They're averaging just over, for the entire year, just over 2 runs a game at home. And the visitors have scored in 21 of 26 games. And Bud Black talked about that tonight before the game. He said it's very, very tough when you're always playing catch-up, which his team has been doing. Here's a ground ball to Pujols. He'll go to second, out there, back to first, safe. Now, Ricky, is that one of those plays where Ryan Theriot, if you're just near the bag, not necessarily on the bag, you're going to get that call?
The old neighborhood play is what we've called it. It's a tough double play to execute, the 3-6-1. I believe he was on the bag. Close play. I'm not sure Loesch was on the bag at first base, and Hudson a tough guy to double up anyway. But the throw from the shortstop to the pitcher who's running and then has to catch the ball, often the shortstop's throwing it before the pitcher's even there. I mean, it's an error written all over it if you're not careful.
So runners at the corners for Rob Johnson, who's hitting 197.
In fact, I still feel guilty. Ozzie Smith threw one right over the bag and got an error on a play I was late covering sometime in the mid-'80s, and I'm just glad it didn't keep him out of the Hall of Fame. I would have felt really badly about that.
Was he the kind of guy that would let you know about it too?
No, he didn't say I knew. No, I just knew. He didn't have to tell me.
It's almost like when your mom or dad didn't say anything.
That was worse.
That was worse, right. Near the line, Schumacher makes the catch in foul territory. Couple of good plays by Skip in the bottom of the second. Loesch leads it off when we come back. Once again, we want to remind you, on Sunday a tornado damaged homes and took the lives of many in Joplin, and the Cardinals are donating $25,000 to Convoy of Hope. It's a Springfield, Missouri-based international disaster relief agency that has been one of the first to provide emergency assistance to the people of Joplin. And one of the best ways that you can help in this disaster is to text the word convoy to 50555 to donate $10 to Convoy of Hope. And all of us here on the West Coast, our thoughts and prayers are with those folks. Terrible, terrible news. Here's Kyle Loesch, and along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Pat Paris is with us. It'll be Loesch, Theriot, and Jay. Scoreless game here in San Diego as we're in the top of the third. And Pat, the Cardinals made a lot of news today with some of the transactions that they've had, but namely Laird is hurt and Boggs goes down.
Interesting choice on Boggs, and they decided they needed to get down from 13 to 12 pitchers, which certainly we all believe is probably the right thing to do right now. With so many guys banged up, they needed to leave themselves a little bit of room bench-wise, and so they move Mitchell Boggs. And I talked to Tony, I talked to John Mozeliak, and they both said Mitchell Boggs needs to get down and get some work. He's got a couple of things he needs to work on. The only way it's going to happen is if he's down pitching in Memphis. And I thought it was interesting, Rick. They're going to move him into the starting rotation, have him pitch every 5th day now.
Well, that's one way to get more innings, clearly. I just frustrated by that move as Loesch takes a call, 3rd strike. Just frustrated because you've got a guy that just 3 to 4 weeks ago was your closer. Really hasn't pitched that often since then. A couple of times he had a couple of bad games, and it's just, I would say it's a pretty quick fall from grace for Mitchell Boggs. And you know, I still think he's got an upside, and interesting, as you say, that he's going to go into the rotation. Maybe that is what's best for him. It's just, I would say, a tough pill for him to swallow.
My question would be, clearly he's better suited in relief work, and that's where the Cardinals have seen him have his success. When he goes to the starting rotation, he really struggled getting through 5 innings, and now he has to sit around and wait every 5th day.
But here's what he struggles with the most in terms of his pitching, is being able to repeat his mechanics and do the same thing time after time. And it's almost like, you know, you've got a bad golf swing, just go hit 300 balls and maybe you'll get on the right plane. I think they're just trying to get him more consistent with his delivery.
Low throw by the shortstop, but handled easily over at first by Hop. With the Cardinals' new ticket pricing system, there are great deals for games throughout the season. This week's dynamic deal, all-inclusive tickets in the Champions Club or Bank of America Club for select June games are just $76, and get yours at Cardinals.com. There are terrace reserved seats for the game on Monday, Memorial Day, for only $9, and for all 4 games against the Giants, we should let people know if you haven't sat in the bleachers, those are just $18 for all 4 games against the San Francisco Giants. 1-0 pitch here to John Jay, who singled and stole a base back in the first. So you're saying then if you put him in the rotation, you have more of a extended look in trying to figure out your mechanics.
And he may get himself right and be able to repeat what's right for a long time, which it's not the idea that he is going to be a starting pitcher. It's the idea that he has to get a repeatable motion, which I think has been his real problem in that bullpen.
And as Tony La Russa said goodbye to Mitchell Boggs today, had him in his office and told him, this is what he told us afterwards, Tony told us that he told Mitchell Boggs, you are going to be a major part of this ball club at some point later on this season. So we need to get you right so that you can come back here and do what we saw you do for a brief time. And I think you're right, Rick. I think that's the way they're going to is figure out, dissect what he's doing wrong by just seeing him.
Here is Pujols, who flied out to deep center. 7 homers, 25 driven in. And he hit it to the track right by the 396 sign in dead center field, first time up. You talked to Albert about drawing walks, and in particular with he and Colby Rasmus.
We just both happened to be, all 3 of us happened to be in the elevator last night at the same time, and I said, Colby, nice job with the 5 walks. And Albert said, I was telling him that's what it takes to see the ball, and when you do that, you're going to go on a tear. Colby's been scuffling a little bit at the plate lately, and Albert knows that better than anybody on a foul ball. And so Albert was saying, look, that's how I get into one of those tears that I go on, and Albert thinks he's close. You saw that ball he hit in the first inning, thought it was gone. It wasn't quite.
Very close to being out of here.
Yes.
Not many times over 10 years does Tony La Russa start the runner at first with Pujols at the plate.
Normally he does it as a hit and run,
right?
More so than the straight steal. John Jay's been running the bases very well. Really not noted as being a particularly fast runner, but knows how to steal bases.
This team is not noted for their speed, but he would be one of the guys that's a candidate to steal a bag. Colby would be another one. Terrio at times. You see the numbers for Pujols both home and road this year. But that 244 at home for a guy that just tears it up at Busch Stadium.
And 104 at-bats now without a home run.
The 2-2 pitch to Albert. Another check on John Jay. Big gap in left center. All 3 are deep. Pujols again. Out to deep right center. But Maben is there to make the catch. The sun going down in beautiful San Diego, California. Glad you're with us here tonight on Fox Sports Midwest. Baseball brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Casino. It's now open, a sports bar for everyone. And by Goldman Sachs. Kyle Loesch back to work, and there is no score. Cardinals with 2 hits, the Padres with 1. And that was a double by Brad Hawpe back in the bottom of the second. Along with Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Pat Paris as well. And we were talking earlier, Pat, about Jaime Garcia. As Mosley trying to bunt his way on. 2 strikes now. And talking about the fact that, Tony La Russa decides this is why he's paid big bucks. Make tough decisions, and he had to take Jaime out in his mind in 84 pitches.
84 pitches. I asked Jaime flat out. I see Kyle Loesch covering, and he will take it himself. If Jaime felt like it wasn't one of those really quality starts, we've seen him have so many this year, and in fact back-to-back outstanding starts for Jaime. And then yesterday in Kansas City, it didn't look like he was quite as sharp to most of us watching the game, but he said, no, I felt great. In fact, anything, I felt really strong. I made a couple of pitches, and it hurt me, but I was surprised when Tony came out to get me.
It's part of the reason you have a pitching coach and a manager, because you are not going to evaluate yourself correctly every time. And I'm not saying, Garcia's way off on that, but the point is, you've got to mentally think you're right on time, even if you're not.
Denorfia retired second time by the shortstop Terrio. If you have a question for us, just head to carsoup.com/Cardinals and send us your email the booth questions. We've seen here tonight good defense by the Redbirds and already a fine play by Skip Schumacher, and Skip is back out here tonight.
Well, he is, and he told me, I talked to him before the game. We had the interview on the pregame show on Cardinals Live, and he said that, not only was he out down there working on his hitting and getting his elbow right again, he's working on his defense, and you could see that before he went out to go down to that extended spring training. They were working him once he was able to start taking ground balls, and they've been working on his footwork, and I think clearly it's been paying off. We haven't been able to see him move towards the first baseline nearly like we have until this year.
I knew it was going to be a ground ball to Skip. I knew it.
That's the power of Pat Parrish right there.
Pat will see you on the postgame. Big bats coming up, led by Berkman. Top of the fourth, and San Diego rolls in. Cardinals with a pair of hits, and both off the bat of John Jay. Here is Lance Berkman. And the first pitch is taken for a ball outside. Berkman here, then Rasmus and Molina. Beautiful Petco Park here in San Diego, where there's one bullpen that is beyond the outfield wall in left center, and the other bullpen is in play within the walls, the confines, nearly on the playing surface.
That almost doesn't seem right, does it? That one team would have a different situation than the other. There's some rules in baseball about the weight rooms have to be close to being the same. It's always a problem in Chicago because the home facilities are so much better than the visiting facilities, but it's just odd that the Cardinal bullpen is on the field, the Padres is not.
And a bouncer to Hudson makes the play. Follow the Cardinals with MLB.com at bat. 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Cardinals.com for details. Now, initially, they thought they were going to put the bullpen beyond the San Diego bullpen, where you see those seats, very similar to what the Phillies have done at Citizens Bank Park.
And they used to have that at County Stadium too in Milwaukee, and I remember having a brawl on the field, and both bullpens had to run on the field from basically the same place. So we were running with guys that we were going to be mad at by the time we got on the field, which I thought was just bizarre.
As you're running your mat, you got him.
Yeah, I got you. Who do you want?
That's hilarious. Now, there's not
we
many.
should have just stayed out there.
No, yeah, you could just have that's the second fight back there.
Play cards or something.
Right.
Nobody would have known.
Let these guys get at it around the mound or whatever they're going to do. Not many ballparks still have that bullpen in play. Wrigley Field being one. The Oakland A's, San Francisco Giants here, obviously. Sometimes you see where guys on foul balls, it's very, very dangerous and difficult because of the mound. When it's elevated, you're running on flat ground, and all of a sudden you're trying to still watch the fly ball, and you start running uphill.
Yeah, you better be careful if you're a corner outfielder in a park like that, especially the visitors. The visitors aren't used to it. The home guy is. Something that a coach will point out right away. Make sure if you're going over to a corner, because you could take a header and fall into the wall there. I mean, aside from dropping the ball, you could get hurt.
Another walk for Colby Rasmus. And that's 2 tonight, handed out by Mosley.
I had somebody ask me this week, when's the last time that players used to come out on the field via the golf cart? And that was actually a rush to get to do that. You get in a little golf cart wherever you were. Shea Stadium, they did that. A lot of ballparks. Montreal. And you kind of felt kind of special. You get this little ride out there. I believe Milwaukee was the last place where they did that, somewhere in the mid-90s, I believe. And then that's become a kind of a passé thing.
I think Kenny Powers did that recently on Eastbound and Down.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, trying to resurrect his career playing winter ball. Molina, a bouncer towards second. Hudson out there on the first double play, 4-6-3. The great Kenny Powers. That reference here on Cardinal Baseball. June 3rd, you can bring the family to Busch Stadium for Merrimack Caverns night. All kids 15 and under receive a coupon good for one admission for a Merrimack Caverns cave tour and boat ride. It may be hot outside, but always a cool 60 degrees inside the cave.
I love the chicken.
The best. Where's the fryer? Those two just don't seem like they'd go together.
No, they don't.
Popped up, Pujols over, and out of play. If you missed it earlier tonight, one of the best catches of the season, Colby Rasmus taking a home run away from Ryan Ludwig. And what a play that was.
Colby had to go a long way to get that, too. He's not playing real shallow, but he's playing medium depth. And the ball was hit a ton by Ryan Ludwig. It was high enough so Rasmus had a chance to get back to the wall, make the leap, time it perfectly, pull it back into play. Nothing but a long out, Dan.
Ludwig, day off yesterday, 10-game hitting streak on the line. He's raised his average during this streak from 181 to 241. And if you're wondering, the longest streak he's ever had, 21 games with the Redbirds. Always wondered if he got gun shy on those kind of pitches. Remember, he's been hit on the wrist multiple times in his career, almost cost him his entire career.
Yeah, he hangs in a long time on that pitch on the inside, just as he did there. He's not afraid to get jammed, as he did there. And that's part of the reason he gets hit a lot.
So a jam shot for out number one.
Right on the thumbs. That is in the kitchen. You know, the chicken almost lost his job on account of me. You heard that story?
No, I am not, but I guess I'm going to hear it.
You're going to hear it right now, Dan. Modesty will keep me from telling you how good a game I was pitching, but I had a nice game going here in San Diego, and the chicken was celebrating an anniversary and was on horseback in between innings for the 7th inning stretch, and he couldn't get the horse off the field. And they almost fired him the next day because he messed up the game I had going. And he had to come and apologize to me personally now to keep his job.
The question would be then, did he come in that, or
no,
did he come as
who he really is? He came as who he really is, and he was very contrite. And they
were you nice to him, or were you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got a couple autograph pictures from him, and it was all good. I have him at home.
Wait a minute, you got an autograph from him?
Of course. He was the chicken. Are you kidding me? He was a big fly. I was just a rookie. I was happy the chicken was talking to him.
What is his name?
Ted Giannoulis.
Now, is he still inside that costume right now?
Well, the best I can tell, it looks like Ted.
Oh, yeah, it's striking resemblance.
It is.
Now I see it. To me, the Fanatic is still.
Oh, Fanatic's funny.
An all-timer.
Well, the chicken has the great head movements, and he just has just a flair for how he moves his body. But the Fanatic is funny. I mean, very, very funny.
How many players wanted to take out the Fanatic?
I can think of a few Cardinals who did.
3-2 the count.
The guy we had real trouble with was the guy in Montreal. His name was Yuppie. And Yuppie was jumping up and down on our dugout one day, and he fell off the dugout and knocked himself unconscious. We felt a little bad for laughing at him. He was okay. So the story ends well, but we thought he deserved it.
Here's a perfect swing on a 3-2 pitch by Headley and a single into center. See, I liked Youppi because he was one of 800 in the stands most nights.
That's a good point. At least he was trying.
Yes, he was. I do miss going to Montreal, I can tell you that. What a great town that is. Time called by Cameron Maben.
Sure you're talking about the botanical gardens there?
Absolutely.
Among other things.
When I was single, Montreal just seemed to be a very fine place to visit. I'm sure it was for you too, Rick.
I was never single there.
I'm sure it still was a fine place to visit.
I think we should talk about something else.
Cameron Maben.
There you go.
He never had a chance to visit there. Montreal had moved. No score here in the bottom of the fourth. San Diego with 2 base hits. That tails in for a strike.
Montreal had a hard time winning, and they certainly couldn't keep the franchise going without enough fans. Their fan base was low, but San Diego, almost hard to believe, but they've been in the World Series twice. They're still looking for their first World Series championship. They were there in 1984. They lost to the Tigers that year and then lost to the Yankees in '98.
Right. That '98 Yankees team in history now goes down as one of the great teams that we've ever seen.
Probably not the 27 Yankees,
no.
but they were very good.
On the 43-year history of this team, the worst home mark was 26-54 back in 1972. And Rick, right now, as you talked about, they're 10 games under 500. They're on pace to go 25-56.
Now, if you can't get it done at home, that's a problem. I would think the home field advantage would be really pronounced in a place like San Diego for a number of reasons. One is the ballpark's so big, and it's also a great place to come. People get distracted, but they just can't win at home.
First strikeout for Loesch sends us to inning number 5. 6 is a serious number again. Cardinals score 6, get 25-cent drinks the next day, all the day on the run at Mobile. That's any 20-ounce coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just $0.25. And we're serious at On the Run. Well, this is good for baseball. Chase Utley back in the lineup tonight for the Phillies, and so was Josh Hamilton. And Hamilton homered in his return to the lineup, the reigning American League MVP.
That's already a good team, and he just makes them a great team.
And there's a strike to Schumacher. Worked the count to 3-0, first time up. And then on a 3-1 pitch, grounded out. Yeah, you take a look at Texas. They are loaded in that lineup. That tails in there for a strike.
And Utley, of course, is going to do a lot for a Phillies lineup. When we saw the Phillies, Dan, they just did not seem like the Phillies to me.
Not at all.
Victorino was out of the lineup, and with Utley gone, of course, Jason Worth is signed with the Nationals this year. It just, there are a lot of guys in that lineup that really didn't scare you a whole lot. But they're pitching. That's a different story.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Oswald finally took a loss at home the other day. First time he's done that wearing a Philly uniform. Doesn't lose at Citizens Bank Park.
Phillies, the class of the National League, and parity in the game of baseball, both the National League and the American League, is maybe at an all-time high. A lot of clubs only a few games out.
A barehanded play by the third baseman. It was do or die for Chase Headley. Very good play. Tony Gwynn statue here at the ballpark. Padres all-time leader in hits, Tony Gwynn, who is second. AT&T trivia question. Old buddy Gary Templeton, 1,135.
Dave Winfield with 1,134 didn't make our trivia question.
And Dave is in the Hall of Fame. Gary Templeton, a fine career, very good player, and traded for Ozzie Smith We all know how that wound up.
And he had that 1 year at Templeton where he had 100 hits left-handed and 100 hits right-handed. That may never be duplicated.
Here's Descalso, who is 0 for 1, grounded out back in the second. You know, going back to the Rangers and you being a former pitcher, Rick, can shed some light on this, but Nolan Ryan, instead of protecting and babying pitchers along the way in the minor leagues, as Descalso hits it out to deep right. Will it carry? That ball is fair and off the wall. He'll stop at second base. A near home run for the California native.
Well, your point about Nolan Ryan as Daniel Descalso gets into scoring position.
And Descalso safe at second, safe and secure. New York Life.
Your point about Nolan Ryan, a lot of people are talking about how wrong it is to baby pitchers, and he's doing something about it. That's the difference. Now, one pitcher goes down and gets hurt, he's going to have to answer to that, but he was the kind of guy that more work and more innings and more innings as a minor leaguer especially was good for him, and he just believes that's good for all pitchers, and he's going to live and die with it.
Loesch, a ground ball. Descalso hesitated, made sure that that ball was going to third, and or rather to first, and he winds up at third with 2 outs. Saw John Jay run into an out. Similar play like that in yesterday's ball game.
Nick Leva used to teach in the Cardinal minor league system there are 4 ways to get from second to third on a ball hit to the left side of the infield. I don't know what they all are, but I know that was one of them. When the third baseman has to come in on a ball, you can get from second to third, but you better be sure you can get past it.
Here is Terrio, takes a ball low and in. Get the feeling that runs may be at a premium here tonight. Good numbers for Terrio with runners in scoring position. He's grounded out twice and looks at a breaking ball. Check swing and a strike.
I think Terrio has done a great job offensively being a table setter. He's more in that line than he is the RBI guy, but really offensively, there's the check swing. Batting average right around 300, has just made some great contributions.
Tails in there for a strike. See Mosley, lefties give up on that exact pitch, and sometimes the right-handed hitters have done so as well.
I think it's outside, and it comes right back over the outside corner. Changeup and a sinker, really his best pitches. Doesn't throw that hard.
Mosley knocks it down, stays with it, takes the hit, and RBI away. No score midway through 5. What's on Tap is brought to you by Budweiser. Aaron Harang and Kyle McClellan will hook up tomorrow. Petco Park will come your way at 8:30. McClellan and Harang. Harang, the former Cincinnati Red, is back home and pitching in this ballpark. They got him out of Cincinnati and has pitched very, very well. A record of 5-2, and some news with the Reds today. Edinson Volquez sent to the minor leagues.
How about that? He's fallen a long way, hasn't he?
Amazingly. You know, he's a guy that a couple years ago, as you get a look at the numbers for Hudson tonight, 1 ball, 1 strike. Rick, he was an all-star, and Volquez, there's a high fly ball into deep right. John Jay is back with room and makes the catch. You could see him look, saying, where's the wall? Where's the track? How deep is this?
He has to go a long way to get it. This ball hit right on the screws by Hudson. Not really a power hitter. And Jay keeps going back, drifting a little bit. Little communication with Colby Rasmus. John Jay has a good feel for this game. On the base pass, defensively, offensively.
Remember, Berkman was originally scheduled to start in right. Not sure he would make that catch.
I don't think he would have.
Going back to Volquez in his last start over the weekend for Cincinnati, he was roughed up in 2 2/3, and now Jay makes that catch. The line out by Johnson. And after that start, he was very vocal about a lack of run support. Well, tomorrow, it'll be Al Rabaski. He'll be busy at the Able Senior Citizen Center in Rolla, Missouri. We're going to put in a Cardinals game lounge and other improvements. Find out more at missioncontinues.org. So part of that is to get him straight. But I'm sure another part, knowing Walt Jocketty and Dusty Baker, is to say, hey, you don't throw your teammates under the bus like that.
Boy, that's a bad sign when you start doing that. The Reds have too many things going in a good direction to start imploding a little bit. And Reds lost 3 straight over the weekend in interleague play, and Cardinals now 2.5 games ahead of the Reds all of a sudden. And to have one of your star pitchers start to call out your offense, that you really can't stand for that. So I understand why Cincinnati did what they did. Takes a lot of guts to do it.
A liner just fouled. The Reds lose again tonight, 10-3, as you see that score. And 10-3 was the final. So Cincinnati has now dropped 6 in a row, and if the Cardinals win tonight, they'd lead the division by 3.5.
We mentioned earlier, Dan, we're talking about the parity in this game. In this season, 20 out of 30 teams are 5 games or less out of first place. I think that's great for baseball. I think it's setting up to be a great season. Look forward to the second 2/3 of this season.
Strikeout of Dustin Mosley. Pitcher's duel here tonight on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now, you can get the new bourbon barbecue steak grilled sandwich at participating restaurants. And by Steel. Are you ready for a Steel? And by Kia. Our score here in San Diego, 0-0 St. Louis, and the San Diego Padres playing in game 1 of this 3-game set. Schnooks, this date in baseball history. Cal Loesch throws 8 scoreless innings, allows 4 hits, walked none, struck out 6 to beat the cross-state rivals 5-0. Schnooks, this date in baseball history.
It's interesting that 2009 season, we know what happened to Kyle Loesch. He gets hit on the forearm. He has forearm problems, has to miss a lot of games, loses the feeling, loses his slider. Interestingly, same injury, same season. Mr. Mosley, the starter for the Padres here tonight, had forearm problems, went on the DL for 60 days, also in 2009. So both these guys have made comebacks, both of them pitching very well tonight. The Cardinals, Dan, better not wait much longer. This bullpen is outstanding for the Padres, and you've got to get this starter. John Jay has been doing his share of the work with 2 base hits.
Heath Bell has only pitched in 2 of the last 13 games for the San Diego Padres. Much of that, of course, due to the fact that there have not been safe situations, so you can't get him in. The big breaking ball by Mosley. What has he done tonight?
Changed speeds very well.
John Jay 2 for 2 with a pair of singles.
There's a breaking ball there, a little bit different wrinkle. Almost looks like he's throwing his breaking ball from different arm angles too. He worked with Trevor Hoffman in spring training to perfect his changeup. I would say that's a pretty good guy to talk to about throwing a changeup.
Maybe the best. Hoffman picked up that historic save last year with Milwaukee and then retired and is now working for the San Diego Padres. You would have to think that they would retire his number and he'd be another Padre that goes into the Hall of Fame. It's a lock.
You think so?
Strikeout of John Jay in the 3rd of the night.
Very close pitch. Might have been out of the zone. Kind of tough to take that pitch, though. Good movement back over the inside corner. There's Trevor Hoffman. His brother Glenn Hoffman, the third base coach here.
Tonight, Pooch is in the park. Trevor had a dog behind him.
Where'd it go? Talking about the retired numbers, they've retired Steve Garvey, Dave Winfield, Randy Jones, and Tony Gwynn. There's Glenn Hoffman, outstanding coach.
And an 0-2. Pujols is 0 for 2. Twice he has flied out to deep center, and this one is launched. Left field, track, wall, and it is gone. It's a home run for Pujols. Finally. He'll trot around the bases as he picks up home run number 8.
Albert gets rid of weeks of frustration with one swing of the bat. He was very close in his first 2 at-bats. Home run number 8 after 105 at-bats without a home run.
Nissan drive of the game and the sweet swing of Pujols. Berkman, base hit past Hudson into right. And again, I know you don't want to put too much into batting practice, but you and I were watching Pujols. He was launching the baseball near the scoreboard and left. And folks, that is a bomb if you hit that even close to the scoreboard and left in that second tier. Look at the reaction there. Mosley not happy at all. 1-0 Cardinals in their half of the 6th. That's a sense of relief.
And he's having trouble hitting home runs, and he hits one in San Diego.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Right. 357 to left field. That's most ballparks at that point would be about 335 maybe.
One to nothing Cardinals on the home run by Pujols. That's also his 26th ribby. And Rasmus taps one foul. He has walked here tonight, also struck out. But he's taken one away too. This game easily could be 1-1 if not for the play of Colby back in the first.
Cardinals defense has been pretty good on this trip. Long game yesterday, but an errorless game in Kansas City, and a good play by Rasmus. Otherwise, it'd be 1-1. Not a good play, a outstanding play. There's your run, Mr. Loesch.
In the dirt, nice block. And the count runs to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Our director Tom Mee was telling us he loves that look by Colby Rasmus. Changed up his luck.
Tom likes that old school look.
Chad Qualls getting loose in the bullpen. One of those names that we've seen a number of times.
Many times. Quality middle reliever, and they've got a lot of them here. Mike Adams, Luke Gregerson, Ernesto Frieri's having a great year.
And the back end's Heath Bell. Chad Qualls, part of that outstanding bullpen for a number of years with Houston. 3-2 and a broken bat. Out at second, on its way to first, double play. Cardinals have bounced into 2 double plays, but Pujols, it took over 100 at bats, but finally he gets home run number 8. Snuck over the wall, and it's a 1-0 St. Louis lead. If you have a car and love baseball, then don't miss discounted Cardinals tickets from Phillips 66 Gas when you fill up with 10 gallons or more. For complete details, stop by your local station or visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. First home run in 27 games for Pujols. Now you ask your starter to go out and shut the door. On the outside corner.
That last pitch is vintage Kyle Loesch this season. Good movement right to a corner. His confidence level is extraordinarily high right now.
Did he go? No. The check swing just held up. 2-2. Get the feeling it's a big inning for Loesch, getting the 1-run lead, and then you get the top of the lineup. So shut the door.
Well, the top of the lineup, frankly, still doesn't scare me. I mean, at most teams you'd say that, Dan, but you know, Denorfia, Bartlett at 261, and Ryan Ludwig. I mean, that's not the top of the lineup on some other teams that you'd really be worried about. There's that mound coming into play that you were talking about earlier.
The bullpen scattered and trying to help out John Jay.
Oh, you're moving equipment, chairs, trying to help communicate a little bit.
A 2-2 pitch to Denorfia is hit out of play.
Dan, he is painting the outside corner. I mean, he is throwing the ball literally on the outside corner every pitch. Denorfia is just flailing away at that location. I think you stay out there. Yachty's setting up in, though.
Hammered out to left. Berkman over his head. May have been a false step in, then he was frozen on that ball that's right at you. And everybody will tell you that plays the outfield, that's the hardest ball to catch.
The ball was crushed. He tried to come inside, didn't get it in enough. Not sure about that pitch location after so many bad swings on the outside half to Denorfia. I think they may have done him a favor there by trying to come inside, and Berkman couldn't handle that hot line drive.
There is Bartlett, who is 0 for 2. He's grounded back to Loesch and also grounded out to second. The corners are in.
Albert way in at first base.
Rick, there may not be a player in this league that takes more chances or gutsier plays defensively than Pujols.
He's in on the grass, couple steps in, and he's not afraid to throw across the diamond. We saw his arm. He did play some third base, you know.
Pretty good. Pujols, the liner, throw to second and throws it into left, but no damage done. High risk, high reward. That time, though, got away with it.
Well, if he's not in, he doesn't catch it, first off. Quick reactions, gets a line drive. Interesting, he's having a conversation with Jim Wolf about the throw. There's Albert in on the grass. Bartlett does his job, hit the ball the other way. Oh, there's a first baseman there. Now Albert tries to throw the ball through Jim Wolf. And throws it into left field, and Terrio got there as quickly as he could. Albert just instinctively trying for the double play. Fortunate that Denorfia didn't make it to third.
And now it's Ryan Ludwig. Ludwig robbed back in the first by Rasmus, took away a home run. Is also popped out to short. What was it like for you going up against a former team?
Well, I didn't fare very well. It's kind of an odd feeling. You know, you've got friends on other teams, not just guys that you played against in the big leagues, guys you played against in the minor leagues too, that you knew and maybe played winter ball with, and you know, you just got to tell yourself they're just another guy up there trying to beat me, and I can still be friends with them, take them to dinner later, but on the field, I'm not giving you any corner in the plate. I'm going to do everything I can to beat you. I think the worst part is not the person, the people, it's the atmosphere. Pitching in Busch Stadium as an ex-Cardinal, to me, was not a lot of fun.
Ludwig with a high fly ball down the left field line. It's hooking, and it is foul.
Terry Pendleton hit 3 ropes against me in St. Louis when I was with the Dodgers. And the third hit was a line drive double in the gap, and he was standing on second base. He had his head down, and he was shaking his head. And I was looking at him thinking, what's he doing? After the game, I talked to him, and he said, I never felt so bad about hitting a ball so hard in all my life. That's what he told me. He said, I felt bad for you because you just didn't have anything.
That's worse.
Exactly. I wish I hadn't noticed it. Terry's a dear friend, great Cardinal. Still love to see him back in the Cardinal uniform.
I would too. The 1-2 pitch now to Ludwig. I've seen Loesch go inside on Ludwig a couple of times. In particular, the last at bat. You see what he's done his last 5 games when he got him to pop out to short with a little jam shot, and also threw one inside 2 pitches ago.
Well, Ludwig's a very good low ball hitter. You throw a ball low out over the plate like most left-handers are. He likes the ball down in the zone. That pitch up. Yachty asked for it up. Perfect location. Doesn't handle that pitch quite as well. Almost has a bit of a loop in his swing. If you pitch him up, he can't get on top of that.
Saw with Ludwig too, the open stance, a lot of movement. And then once the pitch is on its way, everything settles down. And a swing and a miss. Strikeout of Ryan Ludwig.
And that would be one of those bad pitch, good results for Kyle Loesch. It's a hanging slider right in the middle of the plate, and Ludwig just swings through it.
3 strikeouts for Kyle Loesch, all coming in the last 3 innings. And now it is Brad Hopp. He is doubled, also grounded out to first. Back in safely is DeNorfia.
Boundless energy, just like you, Dan.
Fly ball out to left field, over to get it. Berkman with his boundless energy. He makes the catch. We head to the 7th. Molina, Schumacher, Descalso coming up. Pujols home run, the difference so far. Fox Sports Midwest is proud to be your exclusive home for baseball, bringing you 152 games this season. If you don't get us, we encourage you to call your video provider to let them know you don't want to miss any more Cardinals action this year. Ryan Ludwig with a strikeout. He was robbed back in the first, but in this inning, after a leadoff double, they could not advance the runner to third, nor could they bring him in.
Padres 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position in that inning. Now 0 for 6 on the game. It's been the story of the last month for this Padres offense.
Here's Yadier Molina. Hard to Brad Hopp. Takes it for the first out. You know, one of the things to think about, Rick, with the moves that were made today is the fact that the Cardinals clearly are counting on Ryan Franklin getting back into form. You send down Boggs, Franklin's still here. Batista's still here. Two guys that have struggled. And you're hoping that those veterans can regain their form and get back to where they can pitch.
Yeah, and frankly, with Boggs getting sent down, I'm sure there are a number of Cardinal fans that are really questioning that choice. I think Ryan Franklin clearly struggling and has kind of become kind of the whipping boy in some ways of Cardinal fandom. And I think Tony La Russa believes that, and I think John Mozeliak believes that Ryan Franklin will make a contribution before it's over, and they feel the same thing about Mitchell Boggs. But as a veteran, it's hard to send Ryan Franklin out. In fact, I'm not sure you can in terms of options. That's another thing in the Mitchell Boggs story, is you have the ability to send him out and bring him back without losing him. You can't really do that with a veteran player. Veteran player, you either cut ties with him or you don't.
The 1-2 slapped the other way. Ludwig is over, and he won't get it. It's out of play. How concerned would you be, Rick, though, with the fact that you're sending down a guy that probably thought, hey, I've made it, I'm here to stay, and not in a cocky way, just in, hey, I paid my dues, I've had success here, I'm finding success here, and now I'm being sent back down to Memphis.
Well, it's rocking his world. There's no doubt about that. And you've got two ways you can go with that. You can either say, okay, I'm going to work myself back up here and I'm not going to let that affect me, or you go into a negative tailspin. I've seen them both happen.
That's pulled foul.
Danny Cox was the best example to me of a player that went down to the minor leagues, who had been very good at the big league level. He went down his second year, I believe, for a short stint after having a great rookie season. And Whitey Herzog thought he needed to get something straight. Went down, and Danny had a tremendous attitude and came back even better than he was before. Got to work with some coaches that knew him maybe a bit better, had seen him over the years. This could be the case for Mitchell Boggs. And so it really is about attitude and work ethic when something negative happens.
3-2 the count, and again, we understand he goes into the starting rotation, and as you talked about, rightfully so, trying to find repeatable mechanics. The 3-2, and it's a walk to Schumacher. Next time you want to catch a Cardinals game, head to StubHub. You'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you'd like to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of your St. Louis Cardinals. So right now, Volquez is down at AAA for the Reds. And so is Aroldis Chapman, as is Dontrelle Willis. It's pretty good talent down there,
I'll say.
Check on Schumacher with one out. Top of the 7th. Descalso has doubled tonight. Nearly a home run in right field, and also bounced back to the pitcher.
That Pujols home run, Dan, came at a very important time in this ballgame. The Cardinals were in danger of letting this game get into the 8th inning, 9th inning, where the Padres are much more effective, both offensively this season as well as their bullpen.
Slicing towards the line, Ludwig over. Former Cardinal makes the catch. Schumacher back to first.
Padres have actually scored nearly 50% of their runs in the 7th inning on. Kind of an odd stat, but they just do not get off to good starts. Trailing again. You mentioned how often they've trailed this season. 100 pitches for Mosley.
Another check on Schumacher as Qualls continues to throw in the bullpen for the Padres. Now we talk about right around June 1st, you get a better idea of where exactly you are at. And what's interesting is since 1996, only 9% of the teams under 500 on June 1st won 90 games. And that 90-game benchmark usually is a mark that could get you the wild card, or depending how low your division is, could get you into the playoffs. But you've got to be right around there.
It's a pretty good indicator, definitely.
Yes.
Not even a guarantee, really.
Luke Gregerson has got up too. He's starting to throw.
Well, again, I love the parity. There's also parity between the American League and the National League through the first weekend of interleague play. The National League finally not getting beat up on. Tied at 21. Like interleague or not, we got it.
Loesch grounds out. He's got to get 9 more outs for a win. Time to stretch here at Petco. Carsoup.com email the booth question comes from Zach in St. Louis. Rick, which California city did you prefer to play in?
I love to visit San Francisco, but I love to play in San Diego. The mound just always seemed about 4 inches taller. Didn't seem like I could give up any hits here in San Diego, although I did a few times. But I loved playing here, loved the town. And usually the weather is absolutely perfect, Dan, although today, not quite the fact. It's overcast all day, cold, rainy here in San Diego, but seen a good pitcher's duel here tonight.
Fly ball off the bat of Chase Headley and out of play. 7 2/3 no-hit baseball for Rick Horton at Jack Murphy Stadium.
That was that aforementioned chicken day when the chicken couldn't get his horse off the field. Kevin McReynolds hit a changeup, first pitch changeup off the left field wall to break that up.
0-2 pitch by Loesch.
But it was fun. I must say it was fun.
You know, you think about the Cardinals against the Padres. Recent success in postseason play, Bud Smith no-hitter, and then right up there with that is Ricky Horton's 7 2/3.
Yeah, it's called an almost no-hitter, which really doesn't mean too much, does it? It was a shutout.
It's a lot better than most.
Ended up a 2-hit shutout. Got Tony Gwynn out a few times.
Now that's saying something.
Yeah, well, he hit the ball hard right at people a couple of times, but it's okay. And we mentioned that team went on to the World Series in '84. The Tigers and Kirk Gibson beat the Padres in that series.
And they beat the Cubs to get to the World Series.
Interesting that the Cardinals have faced the Padres 3 times in postseason and won all 3 times.
Right. That included 06. A liner over Pujols, just over him. Down into the corner it goes. Headley on his way to second base. He'll stop there. Well, the Padres, Rick, certainly have had their opportunities with runners in scoring position, and they've been able to do nothing with that.
Well, it's their 3rd leadoff double. And leadoff double by Brad Hopp in the 2nd inning, and that's where he stayed. Chris Denorfia led off the 6th inning with a double and couldn't advance to 3rd. And now Chase Headley just over the outreach glove of Albert Pujols into the corner. That would be very frustrating for this team if they do not get this run in. I mean, how many chances do you get?
Here is Maben. Corners are in. He has walked and also struck out. Outfield not very deep for Maben. Trying to keep that runner close at second is Terrio. Showing bunt. That's a strike.
A little late squaring on that bunt in a sacrifice situation. Didn't really look like he was in proper position. Cardinals in on the left side and the right. And Maben probably with a better chance of advancing the runner if he can get the bunt down to the left side of the infield. He better get ready quicker than he did on that last pitch. Got to set the bat angle right about now. That's better.
And he gets the bunt down. Close play at first. Loesch not in time. His good speed got down the line. And runners at the corners with nobody out.
Yadier Molina is frustrated with himself. He believes that he may have interfered and gotten in the way of Kyle Loesch fielding that bunt. There's the defense. In on the left side, Albert's charging. The bunt to the right side. Here comes Molina and Loesch, and he almost collide. Maben, really good speed, very good bunt. And he got more than a sacrifice. Gets a bunt base hit. Now I think Loesch really has to forget about that runner at third base. Just assume it's a 1-1 game. Just get Orlando Hudson out, take your chances in the next inning. Don't try to do too much and get behind Hudson and then maybe give up a big crooked number.
So runners at the corners for San Diego. Hudson, a swing and a miss. You get by Hudson some way, somehow. You have a catcher that's batting 197 on deck, and then the pitcher spot. Just missed.
Kyle Loesch is not giving in. He's trying to strike out Orlando Hudson here. This Padres club does strike out a lot. They have 6 players with 30 or more strikeouts on this team. And that's how you get out of a jam like this. And you do have to pay attention to Maben, who's 7 for 9 in stolen bases. Cardinals looking for a double play in the middle of the infield.
Two strikes. Now if you're Loesch, you're thinking strikeout.
Now you strike him out. If I learned something in Double-A, I had a veteran teammate who'd been in the big leagues for a long time. Buddy Schultz came down on a rehab assignment, and he told me, "You've got a problem. You're trying to strike out guys before you have 2 strikes on them." I never forgot that. When you get the 2 strikes, then you go after it. Kind of the pitch to contact philosophy.
If you had a right-handed hitter up there, Rick, would you have thought about a squeeze play here with the Padres?
Not with nobody out. I think a squeeze is a much more logical choice with 1 out than it is with nobody out.
You bring that up just because of their lack of scoring.
Well, you run yourself out of an inning if it doesn't work. I always like the squeeze play when you are tied or ahead to get an extra run, because I think you are playing with fire. If it doesn't work, you're just running yourself out of an inning. But Bud Black is searching for some answers.
The 2-2 pitch with nobody out.
Almost.
That didn't miss by much. Well, he's got very good movement on that particular pitch all night long.
Looked like that may have caught a corner, and Yadier Molina saw something out of Kyle Loesch. Maybe his reaction to not getting that call, he just wants to make sure they're on the same page, calms him down a bit so he doesn't make a bad pitch here. And now the question is, do you send Maben? And I would still say no, because you might run into a strike him out, throw him out. And probably not going to double up Hudson anyway.
Maben is the runner at first. He is not running. It's a ground ball to Pujols. Backhanded. He's got to play at the plate. Pujols will tag out that runner. And it is first and third with 1 out. Big out there.
Well, you're not going to get a double play anyway, so get that lead run. The runner does the right thing. He's got to go on contact.
Are you a little surprised that Hudson, with his good speed, is not at second base?
Yeah, I would have thought he would have had time. Yadier Molina actually makes a mistake on this. By throwing the ball to third, he could have had 2 runners at third. Here's the ball hit to the right side. Albert, gutsy, throws home. Now Molina's running back the runner at third, but there's already another runner there at third. So all he's got to do is just run him back and tag him out. And that extra throw might have allowed Hudson a chance to go from first to second.
So 3-2, 5-3 on the play.
I'm not sure that's a mistake or not on Yadi's part.
And Hudson now at first base still get a chance to maybe turn 2, and that's why. He slipped going around the bag. Boy, that's big right there.
Yeah, that's a huge play in this game.
And Jorge Cantu will be the pinch hitter for Johnson.
4 for 17 as a pinch hitter.
Cantu, 110 plate appearances and is only grounded into 2 double plays. One ball, 1 strike.
Cantu has power. Good pinch hitter for this situation because the goal is to get a run. The Padres are dying to score a run.
Runners in scoring position. Let's see what San Diego has done.
And they're 3 for their last 40.
The 1-2 pitch. And time is called.
I could hear it all the way up here.
Me too. Not one of the bigger crowds we've seen this year. Big pitch here. The 1-2 from Kyle Loesch. Here it comes. Fly ball into right. Should be deep enough to score the run. Jay makes the catch. Throw comes into second base, and we're tied up 1-1. So Cantu comes through, and Maben scores the first run for San Diego.
Not a bad pitch, actually out of the strike zone, and Cantu just elevates it. Ties this game. Seems like a minor victory here for the Padres, although really, if you're them, you've got to hope for a little bit more. After first and third, nobody out.
Right.
I'd say a bit of a minor victory for Kyle Loesch if he's able to get through this inning.
So Kyle Phillips, who is a backup catcher, digs in for the first time tonight, pinch hitting for Dustin Mosley. His night is through. So as Rick has talked about tonight, the Cardinals will see that very good bullpen coming up in the 8th inning, and the Cardinals will have the top of the lineup with Terrio, Jay, and Pujols.
Albert wouldn't hit another one, would he?
Oh yeah, we've seen that a few times, haven't we? So 2 outs and a runner at first. And that catches the corner. Phillips, who is from this area, and you get a look at the pitch count, 104 for Kyle Loesch.
And nearly 70% strikes, very good ratio. Outstanding effort again for Kyle Loesch.
Check swing. Did not go. Nice changeup that time by Loesch. Very effective pitch here tonight.
And all season long for Loesch. Hasn't made as many mistakes with that pitch as he has with his slider. Really hadn't made a lot of mistakes with any pitches, but changeup's been very consistent all year long. After that bad swing on that changeup, I might just have to throw him another.
There it is. There's a pitch up, but a strikeout of Kyle Phillips. They've tied it up. It's 1-1. Pujols, who was homered tonight, is coming up. The key plays in this game. How about this catch if you're just joining us? One of the best of the year from Colby Rasmus. 6th inning, Rick, and Pujols finally did it.
A long time coming. Very exciting to see Albert go deep. And then in the 7th inning, the game is tied up. Jorge Cantu, sacrifice fly, scores Cameron Maben. Could have been a bigger inning for San Diego, but 1-1's the score, and we'll see Albert again here in the 8th.
So the Cardinals and Padres tied up. It's 1-1. Kyle Phillips stays in the ball game after striking out. Pinch hitter for Dustin Mosley, and the new pitcher is Mike Adams. Look at those numbers for Mike. Very, very good. He's 2-0 in 21 games so far this year.
And in those 21 games, he has retired the first batter he's faced 21 times. That is a phenomenal statistic and an important one for a reliever. Do you come out getting the job done? He certainly has.
Chevy called to the bullpen. Mike Adams from Corpus Christi, Texas. He was acquired from Cleveland back in 2006.
Looks like he leads the league in neck wear also.
One of those
1, 2, 3. I'm counting 3.
It's one of those stats you won't find in a media guide, but certainly noteworthy. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Ryan Terrigo.
Well said, Dan.
He worked 70 games last year, 66 and 2/3 innings, and struck out 73 against a career high 23 walks.
Might be one of those deals where his daughter gave him one, and then it's like another kid said, well, how about me? And next thing you know, you got 3 things around your neck.
And that makes a lot of sense. He has a daughter, Kiera, and a son, Caden. Starting with K. Wonder if that's the reason why. Your pitcher.
That's not in the media guide either.
What's going to be your assignment tomorrow?
Better than naming your kid Homer.
Yes. Homer Bailey.
That's right.
Ooh, just missed. You know, Adams is a pretty big guy too. He's 6'5", 200 pounds. Made his major league debut back in 2004 with Milwaukee, so we saw him pitch in the Central Division.
He's gotten a lot better though.
Yes, he has.
I remember him with Milwaukee, and he's
too.
A good reliever, but not this guy.
The 2-2. Terrio shoots it down the right field line, slicing, just foul. Saw that pitch count. Now over 100 for the Cardinals starter tonight, Cal Loesch, and we have not seen activity in the bullpen, at least not yet. Stretching down there, but still nobody up throwing just yet. And here you talk about it, the great bullpen that they've had this year, 2.30 collective ERA for the Padres.
I'm a little surprised there's not any action in the Cardinal bullpen, frankly.
Is it one of those things where they say, okay, let's get this one run and let him get a win? Give him one more shot at it. Out to right, Terrio lines out.
22 for 22 now for Adams.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Along with Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, you'll see Al on the postgame show with Jim Hayes. Pat Paris with us here on the West Coast as well.
I would guess they'll let Loesch go out and maybe have a right-hander and a left-hander throwing along with it. Top of the order for the Padres.
Here's John Jay. It is amazing, though, like you said, Rick, you see a guy that He just looks like a different pitcher. And we were talking about Jose Bautista of Toronto now really coming into his own and making the adjustments they've had to make at this level to get that much better. That's hard to do.
Well, that's why you don't give up on power, you don't give up on speed, you don't give up on a guy that throws hard, because they might click in. Maybe it's just a little bit different delivery. Maybe Adams hides the ball very well, and perhaps that's something he learned to do, and all of a sudden the ball's coming out of nowhere and guys are not picking up the baseball at all. Maybe it's a grip on the slider, it gets refined, and now it's sharper and has more of a downward action.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. 95 from Adams.
The 95 is what you can't teach.
And just like Loesch tonight, Adams, we saw in the previous at bat with Terrio, he's painting in and out. Nothing over the middle of the plate. The 2-1 pitch.
Pretty good swing there for John Jay.
That Pujols guy is a pretty cool customer. That ball went off the backstop. He looked up, barely even made a motion. Was about ready to hit him in the head and made the catch.
He's smooth.
He's pretty smooth.
And relieved right now.
This might be where he goes off on a tear. Who knows?
Could be.
And if we're talking about it and the fans are talking about it, you know it's in the back of his mind.
Of course it is. You know, he's a very tough player mentally, but he's also a human being.
A 3-2 pitch to John Jay. Jay, base hit into right. Hustling out of the box, takes the turnaround first. They'll test him. Throw into second base, not in time. It's a 3-hit night for John Jay. Now, if you're Bud Black, first base open, do you deal with Lance Berkman with runners at first and second and walk Pujols, or do you pitch to him here?
I think they're going to pitch to Albert. Any other year, I'd say no, but I think they'll pitch to him. John Jay having a great night, now 3 for 4. How about the hustle out of the box? This is a base hit to right field. He turns into a double. Right out of the box, gets a good turn on first base. Daring. Great hustle by John Jay. That was fun to watch.
He represents the go-ahead run. Eduardo Sanchez is throwing in the Cardinal bullpen right now. Pujols has that glare to him, too.
Yeah, how about that? I noticed that. I think he's saying, you better pitch to me.
Pujols 1 for 7, pair of strikeouts against Adams. His home run was back in the 6th. Go-ahead run at second base. The first to Pujols.
I think around the league, the reputation of Lance Berkman, kind of year he's having, I don't think you do walk Albert here.
Do you give him anything to hit? I mean, do you say it's the unintentional intentional? If he chases, so be it?
I don't think they're doing that. I think they're pitching to him.
You also, and you've pointed it out, Rick, you've got to give yourself, if you're the Padres, a little credit here too. Now you are dealing with Albert Pujols, but Mike Adams has put together a spectacular start to this year.
Pujols 1 for 7 against him lifetime. We saw in that graphic. You got to have confidence, righty-righty, even though it is the best player on the planet over the last 10 years.
What I think is interesting is that no lefty is up yet. And I say that because you could turn around Berkman to his weaker side, and you've got another lefty on deck in Colby Rasmus.
But you don't have a left-hander nearly as good as this guy on the mound. Even if you had 4 left-handers out there, I'd take my chance with Mike Adams. Now I don't see why you don't walk Albert now that it's 3-0.
Swinging away on 3-0. Will it get out of play?
I like Albert swinging 3-0.
Count. He is 0 for 4. 6 walks. League average at 355.
Playing with fire here a bit.
No doubt. Pujols chops it foul. 3-2.
Well, I thought they'd pitch to him. When it went to 3-0, I thought they wouldn't. But now they're doing it. Challenged him. Now he is throwing sliders. But he is trying to get Albert Pujols out. Worked himself back into the count. 3-2.
The 3-2 pitch to Pujols.
Albert thought he had worked a walk. Where is this pitch? 3-2.
And I believe we were looking at the highlight. I think Jim Joyce just ejected Pujols.
Otherwise, Tony La Russa really couldn't be out there talking right now. You'd be arguing a ball and strike, which you're really not allowed to do. And Tony may not be arguing the call, but he may be arguing the thought of throwing Albert out of the game if that's in fact what happened. And I think that's a little indication to me, Dan, of, I mean, that is very atypical Albert Pujols, who knows the strike zone so well. That pitch was strike 3. And the frustration that came afterwards, we just haven't seen that very much in his career.
And again, we think he has been ejected.
I just don't think it would have made any other sense for Tony to be out there and for Jim Joyce to allow him an audience to talk about a call third strike.
Right.
You can't really do that. And there goes Albert.
So they'll walk Berkman intentionally, and Colby Rasmus has a chance to be a hero here tonight. Tied up at 1-1 with 2 outs and runners at first and second for Colby.
Did I mention that Albert was human?
And here's a question for you. I don't recall, but has he ever been ejected?
I don't remember.
I don't remember an
That
instance that
happening.
he has. Rasmus tonight has struck out, walked, and also bounced into a double play. 6-4-3. Good speed at second base in John Jay. We'll see how Tony La Russa wants to play this too. Who would come in to play first base? You would think Berkman, and
Alan Craig would go in left.
yeah, Craig would be your guy in left. Here's a 1-0 pitch to Colby Rasmus. We understand that we can't find Tony La Russa in the dugout either, so he may have been ejected. 1 ball, 1 strike here on Colby. Outside, Golina on deck. Fantastic play by Rasmus in the first to take a home run away from his former teammate Ryan Ludwig. The 2-1 pitch to Colby Rasmus. 2-2. Good old-fashioned hardball right there.
That was a great fastball. Had a lot of life to it. Small crowd, but we're getting excited here to watch Mike Adams pitch. He's having a great season. But the game on the line here in the 8th inning, and Colby Rasmus could silence this crowd pretty quickly. Good fastball hitter. Guy throwing hard.
Got it. Called 3rd strike on Rasmus, who strands a couple out there. Hey, we've got good news.
Yeah, you bet we do.
Albert Pujols has not been ejected, obviously, and back out there for the bottom of this 8th inning. Loesch is storing along with Mosley. Good starting pitching. Pujols, his first home run in 27 games. It's our Sonic game recap. There's a couple people that were up here outside of us that were very surprised to see Pujols back at first base. So we did get official word, because there was confusion. Albert not ejected, but Tony La Russa has been ejected. So Pujols still in this lineup and still in the game. Top of the lineup, DeNorfia, Bartlett, and Ludwig against Kyle Loesch, going deep into another game here tonight.
Perhaps Tony fell on the grenade there for Albert. He'd rather have himself thrown out than Albert. Came to his defense.
Well, it's clear you cannot argue balls and strikes.
He's out there talking about it. Somebody's out of the game, clearly. And in this case, it happened to be the manager.
And no matter what he said, give Jim Joyce credit for not ejecting, why a lot of people are here to see Albert Pujols play. And according to our Fox tracks, Jim Joyce has been spot on here tonight. So another good night behind the plate.
He's rated one of the best.
And I think he won a lot of people over despite the blown call for the perfect game and how he handled it, and Galarraga how he handled it as well in Arizona now. And he just got sent to AAA. Terrio gloves and throws out. Jason Mott throwing in the Cardinal bullpen. And also Brian Tallett, the lefty.
Terrio almost waited a bit too long. He stayed back to try to get that extra hop, but with DeNorfia running, he runs well. He starts to turn it on, and now he's got to be quick with this throw. Quick transfer, and just barely gets his man. Just barely.
It's now start number 10 tonight for Kyle Loesch, and he has allowed a total of 17 earned runs. Very good.
5 of those in one game.
Right. Out in front of the plate, Loesch. 2 outs.
Loesch is a good athlete, too. Getting better at swinging the bat, bunting, those parts of the game, but I like the way he fields his position. Hops on that one.
And Rick, this is the 8th time he'll at least go 7 innings in a ball game. How about that? His last time out was very good. Went 8 innings, 6 hits. Prior to that, he had a 6-inning game against Cincinnati. He has gone the distance against Washington, but 8th time now that he's gone at least 7 innings in a game. It's amazing what a healthy arm can do for you.
Not only is it healthy, but it looks like he's still throwing hard and has good stuff here working in the 8th inning. His endurance is back.
Ryan Ludwig is 0 for 3 with a strikeout, trying to extend his hitting streak to 11.
Perfect pitch, 91. Again, movement. Game is fun again for Kyle Loesch.
Al always talks about coming out into California and the cooler weather. You feel like you can go a little bit further in a game.
Absolutely.
The 0-2 pitch and a swing and a miss. Got him to chase and a strikeout of Ludwig. So a quick inning for Loesch. Molina, Schumacher, Descalso coming up. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope. With Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. Joe Patini is now your manager as Tony La Russa was ejected.
There's the toss. Now they're both in that picture, both Albert Pujols and Tony La Russa. And Tony is the one that got thumped, probably because he's out there trying to keep Albert in this game, and he didn't really necessarily even have to say the wrong thing, Dan, but it was probably construed by Joyce as he was out basically complaining about a ball and strike.
This is one of the best closers right now in baseball. When he gets that chance, it's our Chevy called to the bullpen, Keith Bell, and he wants to be used a little bit more than he has because he's only pitched in 2 of the past 13 games they played in.
Doesn't have a great career record against the Cardinals. He's lost a couple of times, in fact, but he's become one of the premier closers in the game. High save percentage. Last 3 years, you'd have to say he's one of the top 2 or 3 guys in all of baseball.
Check in with Pat Paris in a moment. As Bell throws hard. Strike 1. Undrafted Heath Bell is from this area. Molina 2 for 6 with a strikeout against the all-star closer. Bunch of finals already in. Cleveland over Boston. They win again at home. How about the Cleveland Indians and that story that has turned into one of the better ones in the game. 30-15 now. There's a strike. And Rick at home, Cleveland 19-4.
And they've developed a pretty good closer. Actually, the Cardinals developed a pretty good closer for him, Chris Perez. Having an outstanding season.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Molina takes it outside.
You look at the lineup of the Cleveland Indians and you really don't get wowed by it. Jim Joyce right again on that pitch. Let's see. Good eyes.
The 2-2. Molina hits sharply to second. Hudson can take his time. Let's check in with Pat Paris. Pat, what's coming up later tonight?
Yeah, Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up right after the game. Jim Hayes, Al Raboski in studio. They'll talk about Albert Pujols breaking the streak of a homerless drought. And Kyle Loesch just keeps on cruising. And, of course, a little Tony TV. That could be very interesting tonight, guys. We'll see you then.
If you were wondering, Albert Pujols, and clearly he's not been ejected here tonight, as we pointed out. He's back out there. We were wondering, has he ever been ejected in a game? And the answer is yes. We don't remember because the last time it happened was 2005. But it's happened 5 times with Albert Pujols. Here's Skip Schumacher. And a count of 1 ball, 1 strike on Skip. Takes a fastball up and away at 95. Schumacher returning to the lineup. Also Tony Cruz, a backup catcher. That's a base hit, right center field. Extra bases coming up for Schumacher. Digging for 2. He is safe.
Extra bases by a hair as Schumacher finds the gap in right center field. Cameron Maben does a great job of running this ball down. Actually, it's the right fielder. Makes the throw on the money and barely safe. Whew, close play.
Here is.
I don't know. Glad I didn't have to call that one.
This might be the guy you want at the plate. Late innings, Daniel Descalso. He has been clutch.
Close and late.
Descalso with a double back in the 5th. He is also flied out to left and grounded out. Just throw those numbers out the window. We're past the 7th inning. And this is when he has really been good.
Not a lot of hits, but 15 RBIs.
Ball scoots away, but Schumacher staying put.
Number of new sabermetric stats have come into vogue over the last 10 years or so, and one of them, some of them I don't like. The one I do like is close and late. How does a guy perform in late inning clutch situations? I think that's really important to talk about a value of a player, and that's why Daniel Descalso, despite the low average, has been a great fill-in for David Freese.
Alan Craig is on deck. Descalso off the end of the bat and a foul ball. The one thing that Jose Oquendo is preaching right now to Skip Schumacher, get a bigger secondary lead. And you wonder if 2 pitches ago he had a little bigger lead and read that better, would he be at third base right now? That ball had scooted away.
Skip has always been a bit of a tentative base runner to me. He's a great player to have on your team, but base running, I wouldn't say is his best asset. Has good speed, but not great speed. So he's going to have to get that jump, and that's what Jose Oquendo is trying to get him to do.
3-1 is the count. Big gap in right center field for Descalso. The shortstop trying to keep him close at second base. That's Bartlett. And to the right side, base hit. He's done it again. Here comes Schumacher. Throw to the plate is offline. Descalso delivers. 2-1.
How's that for close and late? Can't get any closer, can't get any later. Base hit to right field for Descalso. Skip Schumacher getting that extra step. Oquendo sends him. Decent throw by the right fielder. Denorfia not in time. The reaction to the Cardinal dugout.
So Alan Craig will be the hitter and a pinch hitter for Loesch. Daniel Descalso, he is something. Late inning situations, he comes through again. Here is Craig. The Cardinals record when Craig gets a hit, 22-12. And Heath Bell now against the Cardinals, you talked about it, ERA is over 8. When Craig hits a home run, the Cardinals are 7-0. And Loesch, who is out of the game now, what a job that he did tonight.
You can tell the demeanor of Kyle Loesch. You can always tell when a pitcher's out of the game, he just relaxes a little bit more, and you're so keyed up for days, working up to your start, then you're done. He can enjoy it and bask in it right now.
There's a high fly ball, deep right. Descalso will tag up from second to third. Some insurance sure would be nice right here.
Sure would be. Now that he's at third, he can score a couple of more ways. Pass ball, wild pitch, infield hit.
Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th. You've got Hopp, the lefty, so Talbot is getting loose as we speak. Then the switch hitting Chase Headley and Cameron Maben. Salas, even though he is not labeled the closer, he just happens to go in situations in which a closer might be in. Is that good enough?
I know what you're saying. I know that's what the manager likes to, how he likes to kind of phrase it. I got to say, he's my closer.
He's been very good.
7 for 7.
Got interesting in the ball game yesterday, but don't blame him. He wasn't the only one that was having problems out there. Gave up a couple of hits, but did pick up his 7th save.
Tell you what, it'd be some way to start a series to beat Heath Bell.
You wonder about his effectiveness, Rick, because of his lack of activity. Certainly rested, but not hitting his spots.
A lot of room up the middle for Terrio.
Terrio, right field, base hit. Clutches his fist in the air as he touches the bag at first, and it's a 3-1 St. Louis lead. Big 2-out RBI base hit.
So Terrio's just 1 for 5 today, and you'd say, well, that's not a very good day. Well, if you get a hit like this in the 9th inning of a game, you've had a good day. The situation, very important, and he comes through, and he's excited about it. The Cardinals have now scored 2 against one of the best relievers in the game, and Daniel Descalso, big part of this 2-run Cardinal 9th inning.
Here is John Jay. Albert having a conversation on deck.
No, we do not have him mic'd.
John Jay, a 3-hit night. Pair of singles and a double. Loesch, his reaction.
Think you'll buy him dinner?
You bet. 2 runs have scored here in the 9th. A little bit high. Pujols is on deck. And we thought he was out of the game. Little did we know. Tony got ejected. Kyle Loesch, and I talked about it earlier, Rick, he is now among the league leaders in innings pitched. And really it started from day 1 of spring training.
And he is the league leader in most or least runners reaching base per inning.
Slapped foul and out of play. Runner was off of the pitch. Ryan Terrio.
Not only does he not walk batters, he hasn't given up very many hits this year either. So his walks plus hits per innings pitched, whip, another one of those new stats, is outstanding. Not so new. New to us old guys. Not you, us old guys. I mean,
okay.
My contemporaries.
Thank you. I was worried about that. Everything is good, though.
It's all good. It's all good for Kyle Loesch right now.
Big outing, game 1 of the series. Cardinals are making a habit of taking game 1 and then winning a series, whether it comes in game 3 or not. But
I'm sorry, Dan.
No, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, if the Padres don't win this game, just thinking about the opportunities that they've lost here in this game. Kyle Loesch really pitched out of some jams. 3 leadoff doubles. Bud Black's team only able to score 1 run. One of those situations, 1st and 3rd, nobody out.
And that's what I was going to say. You have 3 leadoff doubles against Loesch, and 1 time you bring him in. That's it.
Well, that was a victory for Loesch in the 7th inning when he only gave up 1 run. Bud Black decided not to send Cameron Maben. He bunted him in the first place, which worked out great. Ended up getting a bunt infield hit. Now you got 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Got to think you're going to get a crooked number, and they didn't.
Fly ball into left. Ludwig there. Well, Schumacher started everything with his double, and then Descalso brought him in. Terrio added the insurance. 3-1. St. Louis as we head to the bottom of the ninth. Player of the game is presented by Toyota. Cal Loesch, 118 pitches. So St. Louis leads San Diego in the bottom of the ninth with a score of 3-1. The Cardinals with 9 hits. Talent will start the inning. You figure if he just faces one, that would be Hop. You have a switch hitter on deck. Headley, though, is only a .229 hitter from the right side, so very easily could face 2.
I would suspect he will face 2. Salas has had a lot of work of late. Talent now becoming the short left-handed reliever, taking that job really from Trevor Miller, who's been less reliable this year, although has made some great contributions in his career as a Cardinal, and Cardinals will need him down the stretch, but Talent getting some work here in the 9th inning.
And that's hit out of play. 1-2. Trevor Miller.
You know he'd like to be in there right now. But he's been around this game long enough to know that you earn your opportunities.
And a strikeout for Talent. That's how we start the bottom of the ninth.
A little bit different than having to face Adrian Gonzalez in the 9th inning.
Salas coming in when we come back. Well, this season, Salas 7 of 7 in save opportunities. And the switch hitter, Chase Headley, hits from the left side. Numbers would say you keep Talent in.
Yeah, Headley actually has better numbers from the left side, and it could be that Dave Duncan believes that Salas and his changeup, righty versus lefty, is better than Talent versus a right-hander. It's the same guy we're talking about, Headley, but a little surprised. I'm surprised he didn't leave Talent in to face Headley. His only home run has been from the left side, and the average, as you said, Dan, quite a bit higher.
Yes. No balls and 2 strikes.
I love the way Salas attacks hitters in the 9th inning of a game. He just goes right at guys. We may see a closer developing here.
And he got him on 3 pitches. Our Budweiser play of the game. If you missed it, it was Glovely.
Ludwig thought he had a home run. A lot of people in this stadium thought he had a home run. Colby Rasmus thought differently.
That's right. I just said Glovely.
I heard you say it. You're just reading what was on the screen.
Fought off. Little floater into right. And off the glove of John Jay. Looked like it hit the heel of the glove, and Maben is aboard.
Nice effort by John Jay trying to close this game out. Not well hit by Maben. Jay on the dive and just off the heel. He'd like to have another shot at that.
This past week, he's had 2 diving catches, so This one he cannot come up with. Extends the ball game to Hudson.
Pujols behind Maben. They'll let him steal second.
Fielder's indifference.
I always write FI in my scorebook. I don't even know if that's the right thing, Dan. Or maybe defensive indifference?
Yes.
It's a DI.
There you go. And that's hit out of play. Salas has come in. He got a strikeout, blue pit, and now 1 ball, 1 strike.
In case you're wondering, no home runs for Orlando Hudson. No real power on the bench anymore with Cantu already being used.
2 out RBIs. Descalso now with 11 this year. You talked about it on the postgame show the other night. Close and late. He has 15 RBIs in that spot.
15 of his 16.
3-1. Salas 2-0 this year. The 7 saves, 1.31 ERA.
Eric Patterson will hit next if Orlando Hudson can reach base.
Fly ball. Out to left. Will it carry near the wall? And Berkman's got it. The Cardinals hold on. The Redbirds win it. The final of 3-1. Well, he gave it a ride, didn't he?
Orlando Hudson still has 0 home runs. Woo. Just barely. Great win for the Cardinals. Albert with his first home run in a very long time. Kyle Loesch, outstanding start. 8 innings, 1 run. Just 5 hits, and the Cardinals celebrating. Colby Rasmus with a big catch in center field. A lot of good news.
So the Cardinals hold on, the 3-1 win. Pujols gets that home run. 9-hit attack here tonight. The catch of the year so far, Colby Rasmus robbing Ludwig of a home run. And Schumacher scoring late in the 9th. 3-1 our final, and the postgame show is coming up next.
Cardinals beat the Padres 3-1 in San Diego tonight. A chance for Al Roboski and myself to talk it over on the postgame edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. And Al, the Padres don't really score a ton of runs. Kyle Loesch made sure they didn't tonight.
Well, he was outstanding. You know, you look at this Padres last 7 games, they've only scored 7 runs, and Kyle Loesch made sure they kept that intact. He was outstanding, kept the ball down. I thought he might have been through after 7, and his 8th inning was even better.
More from Al coming up. Plus, the Cardinals head west for a late-night rendezvous with the Padres. We'll break down Game 1 from beautiful San Diego. Plus, a battle of 2 of the NL's most surprising starters. We'll dissect the Loesch and Mosley matchup. And we'll take you back to the beach for a player reaction and Tony TV. Plus, Al's take on the Cardinals roster moves today. Happy National Taffy Day. Grab a pull and stick around because Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is coming up next.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
And to the right side, base hit. He's done it again. Here comes Schumacher. Throw to the plate is offline. Descalso delivers. 2-1.
Dan Descalso, the hero and our Mid-America Chevy Dealers player of the game. He is standing by with our own Pat Paris. Pat.
All right, Jim, I am with Daniel, and, well, you're Mr. Clutch, Mr. Close and Late. We keep talking about these stats. You sure come through. What's the secret?
Just go up there and battle and try to have a good at-bat, you know. got a great pitcher on the mound, Heath Bell, and just tried to get something to hit and put the fat part of the bat on, and I was able to sneak it through there.
Kind of a tough night all night around offensively for both teams.
Yeah, both pitchers had good stuff tonight. Mosley did a good job of keeping us off balance. Couldn't really break through against them. We were able to keep it close, though, and come through in the end.
What do you see from Kyle Loesch? It seems every time we get a better and better, more quality start.
Yeah, he's got a good plan out there. He's executing every pitch, and he's giving us a chance to win every night. So you can't ask for much more than that from your starting pitcher.
It must be nice being out there at third base to have a guy that gets a lot of ground balls as well.
It's great. It keeps you in the game, gets you a lot of action, and a lot of our pitchers are like that. So it's nice being out there for those guys.
All right, tell me what it was like to have a front row seat to Colby Rasmus robbing Ryan Ludwig way back in the early going.
Well, I couldn't tell if he caught the ball or not. The way he started running in and didn't show anybody the ball. I was like, did you catch it or not? So it was great, fantastic play. It's a great play by Colby out there.
Oh, great job by you two coming through close and late in the clutch. Keep it going.
Thanks a lot.
All right, that's Daniel Descalzo. Jim, will send it back to you in St. Louis.
Thanks, Pat. Close and late is where Daniel Descalzo
right
shines.
side, base
8
hit.
RBIs, close and late, second most in the National League. Not a ton of base hits this year, but it seems all of them were huge, Al.
Well, he doesn't really come to play until that 7th inning or later, and then he really does deliver in the clutch. He had a rare double in the 5th inning, but you know what? This kid is really making a statement. We thought we could not replace Freese, and yet Daniel Descalzo's done it both offensively and defensively.
We say hello and welcome inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio in St. Louis for this late night edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Alongside the Mad Hungarian Al Raboski, I'm Jim Hayes. Way past my bedtime. Coming up, we'll break down Kyle Loesch's night out, and we'll get you back to San Diego for more player reaction. But one of the themes of this Cardinal team, we've seen injuries, we've seen guys sidelined, and then there's a different hero stepping up. We've seen a lot of that from Daniel Descalzo, but we see Colby making a great defensive effort. There was a lot to like about tonight's win.
There absolutely was. I mean, you start out with Kyle Loesch giving you the 8 solid innings. It's amazing how the bullpen just falls into place when a starter will give you 7 innings. One more inning, and it's even a perfect scenario. Timely hitting. Maybe it came a little late, but Albert gets his first home run in over 100 plate appearances. This was just a good team win. Good defensive. The catch by Colby Rasmus kind of set the tone defensively, but really Kyle Loesch set the tone for the game and the team.
A lot to like about it. We want to remind you that we want you to tweet at us, more so Al, because he wants to hear your tweets and read your tweets. You can find us at FS Midwest. Tweet us your Cardinals questions and comments, and we'll respond to some of them throughout the show if Al has his way. We go back to San Diego and get a view from the booth. Dan McLaughlin and Ricky Horton rejoin us now to put a wrap on tonight's Cardinal win. Guys?
Okay, guys, thanks. And you were talking about injuries and players getting a chance. Descalzo obviously making the most of his, but how about John Jay here tonight?
Yeah, he's another one of those guys. If you're going to have injuries, you've got to have guys fill in. And John Jay has always been answering the bell this year. 3 hits in this game. Took a couple up the middle. Also had a big hit late. Here's his hit in the 3rd inning. I also like the way he ran the bases today. He runs with kind of a reckless abandon. He's been stealing bases. And here's his hit late. John Jay against pretty good 8th inning guy, Mike Adams. He turns that into a double. I just like what he's been bringing, not just offensively, Dan, but his defense as well.
Al was exactly right. The pitching of Loesch really set the tone.
Yeah, Loesch was outstanding. A lot of pitches on that outside corner. He was just living on that outside corner. And again, the confidence of Kyle Loesch is such a contrast from where he was when he was dealing with his forearm problems. He's on another level right now, and he has just been outstanding in that rotation.
Well, we'll talk about Kyle McClellan coming up later in the show. Jim and Hungo, let's send it back to you.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Al is right an awful lot. Let's check out the highlights from this one. Scoreless in the bottom of the 1st. Former Cardinal Ryan Ludwig up, and he'll drive the ball to deep center. Colby Rasmus says, I like you and all, but not on my watch. Climbs the wall and robs Luddy. Let's take another look. That's quite a catch.
Well, he gets all the way to the wall, then he jumps up, timing it perfectly. His whole elbow got over the wall for the catch.
More good D from the Cardinals in the 2nd. Chase Headley with a runner on 2nd. Look at Skip Schumacher right off the DL into the starting lineup, and a gem.
He was probably forced back too early, but you wouldn't know it today.
Oh, the drought is over. Albert unloads on one, gone. His first home run since April 23rd, a span of 105 at-bats, and it's 1-0 Cardinals, and you knew the drought couldn't last for much longer.
Couple fly balls to center field after a spectacular batting practice, and finally gets that home run.
Still 1-0, bottom of the 7th. Runners on first and third for the Padres. Nobody out. Loesch gets Orlando Hudson to ground to first. Pujols comes home after the rundown. The Cardinals get the put out and get out of trouble. But the next batter is Jorge Cantu, and he gets the job done as he lifts the ball to right. Cameron Maben trots home, game tied at 1. But top of the 8th, John Jay at second, Albert facing Mike Adams. Called third strike. Albert didn't like it. Neither did Tony La Russa. Looked like Albert got tossed, but Tony got the boot.
As soon as he ran out of the dugout, he was ejected. You can't argue balls and strikes.
To the 9th now, Skip Schumacher at second, Daniel Descalso facing Heath Bell, and more late-inning heroics for Descalso. The base hit, 2-1 Cards. Then 2 batters later, as Descalso just continues to come through in the clutch, Ryan Theriot, the base hit, and this one drops, and it'll plate another, and you can make it 3-1 Cardinals, and that was your final. Cardinals open this 3-game set with San Diego with a 3-1 lead. So Kyle Loesch gets the win, improves to 6-2 through 118 pitches in this one. But Al, as you mentioned, he was very good. You see Jay, 3 hits, another big night. Descalso, the big hit, and Skip Schumacher, good to see him back with the team after coming off the DL. The Cardinals did get a little lift from Skip Schumacher.
The walking wounded, they keep on adding to that disabled list, so it's good to see someone come back. Schumacher, as I mentioned, probably rushed back a little sooner than what they'd like, but when you're dealing with that short bench, you had to bring him back, and at least he looked good offensively and defensively.
It's also nice to see Albert get one over the wall. If you're charting these things, you had some signs with Albert's first couple of at-bats that he might go downtown. We saw it on the 3rd at-bat for Albert tonight.
Yeah, and the one thing about Albert, he's just such a great hitter. He had a very good BP. We really hadn't even talked about his BP recently, as he really wasn't driving the ball. So early in the game, here in the first inning, he hits this ball, hits it pretty well, but you can see by Maben it's going to stay right there in the warning track. His next plate appearance.
Well, yeah, he gets it a little
he got tangled up. He was looking for the home run there and ran into Jay.
You could see Albert was like, wait, that's not gone? And so he's watching the path of the ball, and he gets a little tangled up with John Jay.
John Jay has played football. Albert has not. Watch this. Trying to root it over. Maybe a little frustration there. The 3rd inning, he gets underneath this one a little bit on the end of the bat. You knew it would not carry. But the 3rd time in the 6th inning is a charm. 106 at-bats. It only went to the 2nd row, but he stood and watched it because it's been a while.
And I think he deserved to watch it a little bit, too, because Albert has been fighting a little in terms of the power production. And you're just waiting for Albert to have a game where he hits 2 or 3 home runs and breaks out of it big time. Maybe this is a step in the right direction. A lot of things have gone on since Albert's previous home run. How about 30 days, 27 games? We told you 105 at-bats.
Look at the last one. Jose Bautista's hit 12 home runs. I think he has 19 now on the season. The man that had a career-high 16 a year ago and led the major leagues with 54. He's on fire again.
But let's not focus on Bautista. Let's focus on Albert. I think you're one of the guys that believes that by season's end, Albert's numbers will be where they traditionally are. Obviously, he's got a lot of work to do, but you start with the first step. Maybe he took it tonight.
The biggest thing, and most importantly, is Albert thinks his numbers are going to be there when it's all said and done. And who's going to bet against him? I mean, this guy has just been phenomenal through his first 10 years, the greatest start to a career. And now you're not talking about 1 or 2 years, you're talking about 10 years. So, you've just got to assume that if he feels physically that he's okay, the numbers will be there.
That's the offensive side of things. In terms of the pitching, the Cardinals got very good starting pitching once again. Today it was Kyle Loesch's turn. He turned in 8 innings, a 1-run ball. We'll talk about Kyle next.